Fantasy Fuel is powered by Poll Sports. Get instant fantasy football advice through real-time polls by visiting pollsports.com.
Cards are dealt the other way now, and for the last time, no more shuffling.
All right, welcome back to Fantasy Fuel Shuffling the Deck. Today, we're going to do a random player from the Indianapolis Colts. And before we do that, I want to remind you guys to go to pollsports.com because Poll Sports is not an app yet. It's still just a website. But if you go there, sign up right now, and you have a question about fantasy football. Maybe it's a trade question that you just got offered this crazy trade. You don't know what's going on. There's so many pieces to it. You go on Poll Sports and you figure it out because you got all sorts of people going to answer that question for you. I'll be there. John Eddie Jr., my co-host for Fantasy Fuel, is going to be there. We're answering these questions for you. Other guys are answering these questions for you. Hey, and if you want to be the expert, you can flip the script and you can be the expert. You can answer questions for yourself. So go to pollsports.com and try it out today. Also, if you're listening to us and watching us on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and go ahead and click that notification bell as well. That's going to help you find our episodes a lot faster. You don't have to go searching for them. All right, so let's find out who the random player for the Indianapolis Colts is going to be. Well, it looks like it's going to be Marlon Mack. So Marlon Mack, wow. There were some rumors in the offseason of some free agent running backs that were going to go to the Colts, whatever. We all heard the rumors. But in the end, it wasn't one of the free agents. It was Marlon Mack. So Marlon Mack's the guy right now. And I actually don't mind him on the Colts. I think he actually did pretty decent last year. He only played 12 games. He had 900 yards rushing, which is pretty decent. I think the Colts said to themselves, we got to trust Mack. We got to trust Mack. He's done well. We don't need to sign a free agent. And I think that's what happened. Last year, he was the 21st running back overall, and he missed 4 games. So that's pretty decent. He was already an RB2, and he had missed 4 games. And if you sort it by average, if you sort his points by average, he was actually the 16th best running back in the game last year. So he was a productive RB2. There's no doubt about that. But he'll be closer to the 21st running back this year than the 16th. It could get a little worse, too, depending on how unlucky he gets. I don't know. But I actually think I do. I have him at 21st in my rankings. If you go to fantasyfuelpodcast.com right now, I think he's actually 21st in my rankings. So that's pretty good. That's kind of funny. But anyway, last year he had 9 touchdowns rushing, and there's only like 5 guys that had better than that. And that was Melvin Gordon. It was Barkley. It was Derrick Henry, Connor, and then you got Kamara. Yeah, that's only them guys had more than 9 touchdowns. So that's saying something. Is Mack really that good? Is he that big of a touchdown getter? Maybe. It's the question's still out there, but I have to counter that with a little bit of something right here. He was the 57th most targeted running back in the league last year, and that was not very good. And there was only 1 game where he was targeted 4 times. Everything else was like 3, 2, or 1 time. That's not good enough. To be 57th most targeted running back in the league, there's a lot of guys in front of you. So if you're in a PPR league, you gotta think about that. The point I'm making here, though, is that if his touchdowns fall off at all, and he's no longer in the top 6 for touchdowns at the running back position, I think his value in PPR leagues diminishes quite a bit. But if he continues to get the touchdowns, and he continues to be touchdown friendly, I think he's going to have a lot more value. But the thing is that, sure, let me just put it this way. To stay fantasy relevant, he needs to continue to have his touchdowns or get more receiving targets. He needs to get more receptions. Something needs to happen there. I don't know what I would do with him. If he was on the clock and I had to get him, I'd probably go for it still. I don't think the yards are going to get diminished. I think he's still going to have 900 or better yards because maybe he plays all 16 games this year. If he does that, you could see him in the top 3 if his touchdowns continue to go the way they are as far as touchdowns. I'm not saying top 3 overall. I'm saying top 3 in touchdowns. Off from being like maybe it's Gordon and Barkley and Mack. I don't know. He wasn't that far off from being in the top 3 to begin with from last year, and he only played 12 games. Let's remember that. So what's it going to be this year? Is it going to be better than last year because his touchdowns are going to be higher, or is it going to be his receptions that go up? Or does he do about the same? Or could he do worse because his touchdowns go down and he just doesn't get the receptions because he hasn't gotten the receptions yet when he's been playing? So the choice is yours. I don't really have a problem either way you're thinking about this. If you want to take him, take that risk. He's going to be close to RB2, whether or not, even if he falls down, he's still going to be a pretty decent flex option. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But for me this year, I'm not too huge on Mack. I think he's going to fall off a bit because I don't think he can sustain the amount of touchdowns that he had last year, and the fact that he's just not that great of a pass catcher when it comes to targets. And he only had 17. This isn't 100% accurate. I'm pretty sure he had 17 receptions last year. That's nowhere close to being a good PPR back. If you're in a standard league, completely different. You could probably go with him and he's going to be solid for you. But in PPR leagues, there's a lot of other guys you can choose from. I don't mind him, like I said, but I think I'd probably go in a different route this year if I had my choice. Now remember, guys, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us a little review. That does help us out, get a little bit more noticed by people that are looking for a podcast to listen to. Remember, you can find us at fantasyfuelpodcast.com. We got all our rankings there. You can check all that out. That stuff's pretty cool. Don't forget what place you can go to is pollsports.com. I'm just going to say it real quick again because I want to plug them as much as possible. It's a great website, and it's going to be a great app going forward once it gets started. So remember that, pollsports.com. But go ahead and listen to our actual show, Fantasy Fuel, with me and John Eddie Jr. get together. It's been really good these last few episodes because we've been going through our rankings, and it's really awesome. So with all that being said, guys, remember to stay fueled up this fantasy season.